Well, good morning. We are back with another update from the boat. We took this old beat up jack plate off of the back of the boat, and it's not absolutely perfect, but if you see, we kind of sanded it down and polished it out a little bit. We weren't trying to make a mirror out of it, we're just trying to clean it up. This thing was so nasty. All in here, they had a bunch of old rotted acorns and oak leaves and things like that. So we took it all apart, every piece, sanded it down, buffed it out, put it back together with some new nylock nuts and washers. We had a little trouble getting the ram unseized, so it was, I don't know if you remember seeing in one of the videos, but the ram was pushed all the way down and it was stuck in there. I don't know if the seals inside were I don't know, corroded to the cylinder itself or what, but it was stuck. So took these little fittings off and we pumped it with some PB Blaster and some other sea foam and stuff like that, and let it sit overnight. And we came back and we actually had to put quite a bit of pressure on it to get it to free up, but we didn't break anything, so that's a win. Put it all back together and she looks, I won't say new, but looks a whole lot better than she did. So that's just one of the little projects we've been working on. And then took the console out of the boat. See, took all the little fittings off, every screw, every nut, every gauge. Took it all apart. And this console is really not in bad shape. It's just really, really ugly. So we need to replace this inside the little dash panel here. It looks like they put a piece of wood in here and just kind of painted over it. I don't think there was any fiberglass on top of this. Maybe around the edge there was, but here in the center it's very, very soft. But see, under there's a little splash guard, from what I believe. It's a little splash guard under there to keep the live well in the front from overwashing, I guess. A little pump housing right there that I've still got to pull off. But this is an old live well that was on the front, that is still on the front of the console. I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep it yet or not. I may just use it for storage, but it's not going to be plumbed anymore. See, right here they had a little box for tackle storage. I can come show you over here. It was this little deal. I thought it was pretty cool. I like the idea, so I may go back and do that again, just with a bigger box. See, that's what it looked like, and you could fit 2 tackle storage trays in here. I think I may cut it out bigger and build my own. That way I can put 4 or 5 full-size Plano trays in it. These are all the little aluminum bezels that came off the back side of the gauges. I think I'm gonna reuse those, polish them up, and make them look good again. They're in good shape. They just need to be cleaned up. A couple of hinges. So I thought this was a pretty cool idea. I may go back and do that again with a bigger piece, or with a bigger compartment. So the plan for today is to sand this thing down, get it halfway smooth, identify any little nicks or holes that I've got to fill. Haven't decided if I'm gonna go back with the rod holders in the side. I love the idea of it, but the bottom of these rod holders are not sealed. So that's just allowing water. See, this is one of the rod holders here. They got these really cool caps that go over them, which I guess kind of sort of keep the water out of it. They're in really good shape though. As you can see, it's not sealed. So I have to figure out some way to put a drainage on it or something, or get rid of them altogether, because I don't want water going down inside my console. So yeah, a few little screws that broke off that we need to cut down. But all in all, the wood that was glassed in is still in really good shape. So I think I'll just reseal all that, sand it down, put another coat of polyester resin over it, let it cure, and we'll re-gel coat this whole thing when we're done sanding. Use a little body filler, but be back with another update. All right, guys, it's another day. We got the console sanded down. We ended up coming on top where all the screw holes were and filing them out with a Dana file, or a little pencil file rather. We got a plan for these bigger holes like this to fill in. You see that one right there? That's where the I guess the Lowrance was sitting, and the power cable went down through there. And this was another one. So this is what we're going to do to fill these holes. I took a little hole saw and I cut out a few plugs, and I drilled this out to be the same dimension as the plug, with a little bit smaller, the next size down hole saw. I came in here with my little pencil file and I put it in my vise. I took this little plug like this, just ran it around as it was running until I got it to the size that I needed. And I didn't want it to fall down in there. I wanted it to fit very snug, to the point where I had to hammer it in with a hammer. And then I came back with my little pencil file again, and I just kind of smoothed out the edges so that they were contoured with the ground out that we did to fill this with putty. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take a little dowel rod, I'm gonna stick it down in there and hammer it down. I'm gonna cut it off and hit it with the Dana file again, and then we're gonna come back with some Bondo filler, and we're gonna fill over the top of all these gouges right here. What I'm probably gonna end up having to do is drill every one of these holes out a little bit bigger, so I can get a dowel rod in there and cut them off. That way we don't have any seepage underneath. But that's what we're working on today. So we'll be back with another update. Alright, so we just mixed up a little small batch of resin. I think I mixed it a little too hot. It's already starting to kick. But before we lay the Bondo on top of this plug here, I went ahead and I saturated it with a little bit of resin all the way around. I came back where all the exposed wood is in these holes, and I saturated it with a little resin in here where the shifter goes. And yeah, so we're gonna let that kick, and then we'll be back and we're gonna start bondoing. All right, guys, we're back with another update. See here, we mixed some of the sand and dust that we had from all the gel coat and the Bondo that we used, and we mixed it up with some polyester resin, filled in those holes there, filled in those holes there. See, we used it to fill in a hole here. Then on the top we made some plugs to fit in here. We epoxied over, or polyester resined over those, over all these. See, it's sanded really flat right now. You can see there's really no high spots, very few low spots. So I'm pretty happy with how that came out. A lot of sanding, a lot of Bondo. See down here, this is where the trim tab switches were. We filled that in. Down here is where the jack plate switch was. We filled that in and sanded it all down. It all came out really smooth. So we got a few more things to sand here in the next couple of days. This is still a little tacky with the polyester that we put in it. Sand it down here in the next couple of days and should be ready to shoot a coat of primer. You see, I cut this box out bigger. If you look back in one of the previous videos, you see there was a little small compartment there to fit some Plano boxes. So I'm gonna build another one just bigger so I can fit maybe 4, we'll say 4 Plano boxes in it. And also I'm gonna make it to where it's removable. The only thing that's going to be holding it in is some 5200 all the way around the seams. That'll be the only thing holding it. We're not going to put any screws in it. And if I ever have to get back underneath here to get to my gauges or instrument panel or whatever, then I'll have a much bigger area to get in from here instead of just trying to sit upside down over there and look at what's going on. So that's where we're at today. See y'all in a bit.